ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this special edition of Classic Movie Buffet Theater. Yay! I want to say right off the bat, thank you all so much for being patient in getting the Classic Movie Buffet video for yesterday uploaded. I don't know what was going on with the internet, but it seemed like it took forever for it to upload. And like I said, I started uploading it yesterday around 1 p.m. and it did not get uploaded until 10 o'clock this morning. So I don't know what the deal was with that, but hopefully this one will be uploaded tonight. And it doesn't, and you don't have to wait till tomorrow, hopefully. So, with that being said, thank you all so much for joining me today. Thank you for the views on the other videos, for the comments, the likes, all that stuff. Thank you all so much. Thank you to the new subscribers that have joined the channel. It's fantastic. We're glad to have you. Thank you for joining the Mafia fam. All right. With all that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into today's movie. Now, yesterday we talked about the Beastmaster, which was a classic fantasy sword and sorcery type film from back in 1982. Today we're going to jump forward a few years and we're going to talk about an action movie from the director John Woo. Now, John Woo has directed a lot of terrific action films, such as Face Off, and that was the one with John Travolta and Nicolas Cage, which is a fantastic film. If you've never seen that, it's fantastic. He also directed Jean-Claude Van Damme in Hard Target, which is one of my favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme films. And he also directed the second episode or second part of Mission Impossible. So he did Mission Impossible 2, which is probably, I don't know, could be, well, it's one of my favorites. One of my favorite of the Mission Impossible films. Part 2 is probably one of my favorite ones. And we're talking about, the film we're going to talk about today is from 1996, I believe, if I'm looking at that correctly. Let me get my glasses on here and grab my notes. Yes, it was from 1996. It stars John Travolta and Christian Slater, and it's called Broken Arrow. Now, this movie is fantastic. It's action from the get-go. So, like I said, it stars John Travolta, who plays the character of Vic, and he also played in the film, of course, Grease. He was also in the film Wild Hogs, which is a great comedy. If you haven't seen that, you need to check it out. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit the mic. And he starred in the film Basic, which is a military film. And it was very good. It was a thriller. It was a really good film. If you haven't seen that, you need to check it out. And the film also stars, of course, like I said, Christian Slater, who plays the character of Riley. And he also played in the film Gleaming the Cube, which that film was kind of like during the skateboarding craze of the mid to late 80s and early 90s. And it was a good film. It was a thriller, action thriller. It was really good. He also starred in the film Cuffs. That was a good comedy action film. And he also played in the film Hard Rain with Morgan Freeman. And that was a fantastic film. If you haven't seen any of these three films, you definitely need to check these three films out. And the film also stars a Samantha Mathis, who played the character of Terry. She also played in Pet Sematary Bloodlines. She played in the Punisher from 2004. Now that's the one with Thomas Jane and John Travolta. And she also played in the film Pump Up the Volume with Christian Slater. Now I have not, to be honest with you, I have not seen Pump Up the Volume, but the Punisher was freaking awesome, and Pet Sematary Bloodlines was a good sequel to the other two films. So if you haven't seen that, I think it was available on Prime. You need to check that one out because it was really good. It starred David Duchovny of the X-Files. It was really good as well. Now, with all that being said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump into the trailer for this John Woo action classic, Broken Arrow. Here we go.
They are America's first line of defense. best of friends.
Ready, Captain? Snap of the Earth. Here we go.
Fierce competitors.
Very nicely done. Almost as good as me.
Ready to protect our nation against any threat.
Carrying the nukes. Do you love having the power of God at your fingertips?
Not tonight, buddy.
But what if the enemy is one of them?
What the hell are you doing?
We got pilots down.
We got ourselves a broken arrow.
A broken what?
It's what we call it when we lose a nuclear weapon.
I don't know what's scarier, losing nuclear weapons, or that it happens so often there's actually a term for it.
The only thing more dangerous than what he knows
They believe they've got an exposed core. They got to send in a nuclear emergency search team. By the time they find us, we'll be gone.
is what he's prepared to do.
$250 million by 0900 Utah time. If you have not...
Good God. I don't know what the big deal is. I really don't.
But there's one thing
Smile, boys. We're about to retire.
he didn't count on.
I know his mind works. You gotta let me go after him.
Outstanding, Hal. That's the spirit.
Would you mind not shooting at the thermonuclear weapons?
And what are we doing?
If you enter the wrong code 3 times, the nuke goes dead.
Unless, of course, I already thought of that ahead of time. You just activated a nuclear warhead, my friend. The clock is ticking. Care for a Coke or something?
John Travolta,
You lose.
Christian Slater,
You're out of your mind.
Ain't it cool?
Broken Arrow, a John Woo film.
All right, now, as you probably saw from the trailer, the plot for this film is terrorists steal nuclear warheads from the U.S. military, but don't count on a pilot and a park ranger spoiling their plans. So, this was a great action film. John Travolta, I don't care what anybody says, John Travolta is incredible as the villain. We saw it in we saw it in most parts in Face Off during that film where he switched over to the villain. He was fantastic. Nicolas Cage is also fantastic as the villain in Face Off, but he's not in this film. But anyways, John Travolta is incredible as a bad guy. This film solidifies him as a bad guy, especially this one and The Punisher from 2004. He was a bad guy in that too. Fantastic. Christian Slater, great actor. I loved him in Tales from the Dark Side. The Lot 249 story in that movie was fantastic. Him and Steve Buscemi was in that together. That was a great film. Cuffs is a great movie. This movie's further solidifies Christian Slater as a action hero. It seems like to me in the 90s, the either the early, the mid, maybe even the late 90s, everybody wanted to be a freaking action star. You had Fair Game with with Adam Baldwin, I think it was, and Cindy Crawford. That was an action movie. Then you had Long Kiss Goodnight with Gina Davis. That was an action movie from the 90s. Everybody wanted to be an action movie star in the 90s. This was one of the first. I don't want to say it was his first film because I don't think it was, but it may have been his first major film that was released in theaters for Howie Long. Now, Howie Long became an action star after this film. It worked for some people. It worked for some. Now, this was a great action film, as I said. John Woo is a tremendous action director. Travolta was very convincing as the main villain, and Slater was awesome as the hero. This is one of John Woo's best underrated action films, in my opinion. Hans Zimmer produces one of the greatest music scores, with some nice twanging guitar Eddie, from Dwayne Eddy. Dwayne Eddy was also involved with the soundtrack to this film. The You'll notice when you watch this film, if you've seen both films, if you watch this film and then watch Scream 2, you will catch some of the music from Broken Arrow in Scream 2. The little guitar tune that plays when Dewey from Scream 2 shows up. When Dewey enters the scene, they play that little dum dum dum. You'll hear that in Broken Arrow. So this film had a budget of $50 million to make this film. The box office gross was 150.2 million. So when you put two big stars like John Travolta and Christian Slater in a film together, that's money. That's going to bring you box office gross money. Little trivia: John Woo's earlier cut came in at the 2 hour mark and featured more character development and more violence in the action scenes. Christian Slater did almost all of his own stunts in this film. He also turned down a role in the movie Assassins with Sylvester Stallone to work with John Woo. I didn't know that. So, he would have been good in Assassins too, I think. Him and Sylvester Stallone. And if they would have left Antonio Banderas in there and had all three of them, oh, dude, that would have been sweet. But Christian Slater turned that role down to work with John Woo. Howie Long's character in the movie was originally supposed to be killed off earlier in the picture. But when Fox executives, who, put up the money for the film, I suppose, saw the dailies and liked his performance, his role was quickly changed so he could be in the whole film. Now that's interesting too, because I don't think if he would have been in that whole film, if they had to went back and changed that and added him to play throughout the whole film, I don't think his career would have took off the way it did. I mean, granted, it didn't go very far, but it wouldn't have took off the way it did had that not happened. Helen Hunt was offered the role of Terry, that's played by Samantha Mathis, but she turned it down to star in the film Twister with oh I can't, I had his name in my head. I started to say it, but it was the wrong guy. I can't think of his name. I'm sorry. I just can't. But she turned down the role of Terry to play in Twister. That's fantastic because I love Twister. Twister is one of my favorite natural disaster films. For their fight scenes, Christian Slater and John Travolta trained with former boxing champ Carlos Palomino. Wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool right there. There is some boxing scenes in the film. Right at the start of it, when they first introduced the two characters. Like I said, at the start of the film, they're best friends, so they do spar with each other, and then of course the big fight at the end of the movie, at the end of the fight scene. So that was pretty cool. And not only did Christian Slater do some of his own stunts, Howie Long did his own stunts for this film. So that's some pretty interesting stuff coming out of there from John Woo. Now I'm telling you, John Woo is a fantastic director. Um, I liked Hard Target. I liked Mission Impossible 2. I liked Face Off. He directed Face Off. I love this film. John Woo has a way of doing action that a lot of people have come to know and copy from. Um, you see a lot of it happen, with horror films nowadays. Uh, you had, James Wan is an incredible, incredible producer, an incredible director, as far as horror films go, as far as The Conjuring and The Nun and Annabelle and movies like that. He does very well with that. And there has been like a large amount of horror films that have been released since James Wan came into the picture, where you see a lot of people critiquing what he does and adding it to their films, from like the jump scares and how to set it up and things like that. So a lot of people learned a lot of stuff from John Woo, that they normally wouldn't try before, but it worked for John Woo. So they're like, oh, well, we'll try this in this picture, and it worked out fantastically. And I'm sure there's a lot of that, no matter what genre film it is. I'm sure there's a lot of that going around. That's how you learn how to do things, is by learning from other people, from more experienced people. Um, so and that's the same way with everything. Um, so this was a fantastic action film. Like I said, I thoroughly love John Travolta as a bad guy. At that point in his career, Christian Slater needed a boost. Um, I need to go back and watch up Pump Up the Volume. I've never watched it before. I'm highly anticipating to watch that one actually now, so that I'm thinking of it. Um, but movies like Heathers and Cuffs and of course, Bump Up the Volume. Once I watch it, I'm sure I'll enjoy it too. Christian Slater's had a great movie career, along with John Travolta and Samantha Mathis. She's done a lot too. All fantastic actors. The movie was great. The plot was great. Of course, with John Woo, the direction was great. This is a fantastic action film from 1996 that if you have not seen, you do need to watch this film. If you love John Travolta as a bad guy in Face Off, you will love John Travolta as a bad guy in this film too. I guarantee you will love this film. And another film too that you need to check out, like I said earlier, was Hard Rain. Christian Slater is great in that film. Morgan Freeman is fantastic as always in that film. You need to check that one out as well. So, with all that being said, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you do get a chance to watch this film if you have not seen it. If you have seen it, let me know down in the comment section below what you thought of it. Was it good? Did it suit your taste? I hope it did because it does mine. It's fantastic. I enjoy it so much. So leading up now, we're going to go ahead and the next video that will come out will be on Sunday for Supernatural Sunday, where I discuss my next favorite episode of season 5. So stay tuned for that. Then we'll go right back into Monday, and I will try to have a video on. No, it'll be Tuesday. Tuesday will be Mike's Movie Rampage, not Monday. Tuesday is Mike's Movie Rampage, starting again next week. We go back to the regular schedule of Tuesday and Wednesday, and no, Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. I've got to get that in my head. I'm telling you, I've got to get it in my head. Tuesday is Mike's Movie Rampage. Friday will be a classic movie buffet theater, or Thursday is a classic movie buffet theater, and then on Sunday we will have the next Supernatural. So stay tuned for those. If you haven't already, do hit the notification bell so you get notified when those videos come out. I will keep you guys posted on the Twitch. I'm still working on that. Like I said, if I do get it going, I'd love to do some full movie reactions, such as like Pump Up the Volume and movies like that I haven't seen before. So I will keep you guys updated on that. I'm still trying to work out some kinks with that. But with all that being said, I will see you guys on Sunday for Supernatural Sunday. Till then, have a great evening. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys. Bye bye.